So we continue from the last demo. And what is XR? XR is nothing special but a collection of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So it's kind of giving you an overall name. So we just mentioned about this mixed reality example. So as far as the development of virtual reality or augmented reality, here having some history of very first virtual reality language was called virtual reality modern language. It's a script language support online 3D objects or scenes with some special plugin viewer on the browser. So basically supporting a web-based 3D. And now the X3D is a successors of Wormhole. Wormhole started in 1997. Is based on markup language, so it can be easily embedded into HTML code. So now X3D is working with HTML5 to making a standardization for web content for 3D objects or 3D scene. And that's the trend actually toward into 3D commerce, 3D shopping, online shopping, that kind of thing. So really in 2003, the real-time shading can be supported by the graphic processing unit at that time, and real-time rendering, real-time shading, texturing can be supported. That's how, because if you run 3D scene online, then the user's hardware have to support those shading, those rendering and texturing in real time, so you can see a real realistic scene as a real world. Okay. So the equipment actually related to virtual reality is you can see a 3D scene on your browser, but having a head-mount display, you will be able to see a much more immersive because you are closed in another scene, like a Second Life. So you are in that totally immersed 3D environment, like you are a person walking in a mimic virtual environment. I have a couple examples to show here. Hold on. Okay, the very first head-mount display was designed by Evan Sutherland in 1968. And this is how. So the top of that, the head-mount display have a positioning, so can track where the position in the space of a 3D XYZ location in the scene. And then you can interact with the scene. That's how that works. Oops, sorry. And then this is actually the early example of NASA view system, the head-mount display as well. So another actually device related to the virtual scene is haptic device. For example, the glove she has, which can have interaction, is an interface to interaction with the scene. And for example, the typical one is joystick, which if you guys are playing game, the joystick sometimes when you drive the car or when you shoot the bullets with the gun, the virtual gun, and then you can have the resistance or the shaking of the joysticks. That's the haptic device to give the feedback or to the user. That's the interaction computer to human. Okay, virtual reality and AR language. Like I said, Vermo is the early one for the web, and then X3D currently working with HTML5 to make the 3D object being standard in the HTML web file. And Chronos, our company, our consortium actually also working on the e-commerce 3D standardization. That's a company developed very fast actually. And web VR is where you can find creating web or phone-based VR and AR environment. Okay. So in the first augmented reality development kit was from Washington University. You can still download and creating there, but it's like over 10 years. So what they do is you creating the marker. Okay, hold on. Sorry. 3D live. Let's see if it's still live or not. So basically you print out a marker and making the marker link with the 3D object. So when the 3D scene sees the marker, then the marker will become the 3D objects to rotate it, and you can examine them too. So that's a old package, and nowadays the web VR probably the one you can use, and Google Copland have also tutorials creating a VR AR scene for your phone and for web based. There is a standardizations from World Wide Web Consortium and W3D Consortium working. Those are all the reading materials for you to go through. Okay, and so the equipment, as far as equipment, Oculus, Vive is the VR pretty top company in doing the VR equipment, head-mount display and gloves. And Google Cardboard is a cheap version, but it's also just fine, working fine. And most of the time, the Oculus Rift was done 2014 or 16 started, and Vive is actually we have Vive equipment in our office. If anybody interested, you can stop by in the fall and to try it out. And so one of the example here in the video is showing augmented reality with eye tracking system, which within the glass there is eye trackers and to track where you're looking at. That's from Toby to having a usability study.
Eye tracking is a technology that gives you an insight into what people look at and also how they process their world around them. Glasses 2 is so easy to use. We don't have to train the user. We can just send it out, they can start recording directly, and we can have an unbiased insight into how they live their everyday life. We have seen that our unique design with 4 eye cameras and a really wide HD camera is perfect for the researcher who wants to catch every detail of the participant's eye tracking. Eye tracking gives unique insight into the people's buying process, how they think when they buy their products. You see which products they consider, which they choose from, and finally which product they choose to buy. The real-world mapping tool is a fantastic tool because researchers can now save hundreds of hours by getting the data coded automatically.
So actually, this is more how AR and eye tracking apply to the marketing application. So I'm not going to finish and let you to go ahead and explore the rest. Other learning resource, like I said, Google VR have a Google Developer Cardboard area you can find to develop the VR scene, Web VR and Web 3D. So in the next 5 minutes, I want to talk about 3D printing. 3D printing technology also being called additive manufacturing. So 3D printing first being used for early prototyping and to save the months of times for prototyping for manufacturing and mechanical work. And because you can instantly print out your design and to testing if any interfere of the objects or the design, if that's feasible. And there is a 3 type of printing, 3D printing, right? It's SLS, selective laser sintering, and FDM, and SLA. So I'll be running pretty quick. So basically you create a 3D model. Remember our pipeline, graphic pipeline. So basically the very first step still going to be creating 3D model. And then save that to the STL file and then send it to the 3D printer. Most of the time 3D printing don't have too much color, but it does support different kind of materials. Yeah. So let's talk about all the 3 different type of printing technique. The first one is SLS. Basically, I'll let you guys to watch this movie from University of Texas. Basically, it is a layer by layer print, but
this video describes lasers.
You're going to have a layer of powder and then put a little bit like watery glue for where it's connected within the 3D file, and then put another layer on top. So gradually, the object will be
additive manufacturing
for the part to be built. Here's the laser scan that powder surface, but we need parts first. So we have a computer about 4/1000 of an inch or 100 microns, which is where there's
art building. The roller prepares the platform in the chamber, which is heated. Burrell continues.
The lasers go into the previous layer. The 1000. We have a lot of white powder. The parts then are moved to a breakout table where we remove the powder, which is loose and recyclable. These parts are a variety of samples, but also a lot of our University of Texas done with brush hardware. And then following with this printing process.
So this is an example compared to SLS.
This video.
The fused deposition modeling is basically you are using a wire, like a plastic wire, and then mill it down, and basically the material glue it themselves with the heat. So that's the different, and the materials can be like ABS, PLA, nylon even. So the last type is SLA, which is for high details, accuracy, and particularly good for the medical and machine parts use.
To get the excess resin off.
So basically here,
castable resin gives
you are using the chemical reaction to form the shape. So some more technology behind it, we'll be able to find it here. And I'm not going to play this, but let you guys to look at it, more material to learn.